Alright, so I figured a video is worth 1,000 words here. So I pulled the inverter out of the location it was in, which was mounted over here with some other components in the system, and I just wanted to simplify things. So I've got my battery bank here. It's a 400 amp hour, 12 volt lithium battery system, and I've just taken two cables that I had as spares connected to the positive and the negative. And I'm taking this video just in case you guys see anything that I'm not thinking of. So I've got the negative disconnected from my system, and I've just run two new cables from the negative and the positive of the batteries over to the inverter. So let's see if I can show that. That's the only thing that's hooked up on the DC side. That's it. Now I've taken an extension cord right here and chopped it, and I've run the lines to the ground, the neutral, and it's connected to the hot 1 out currently. I've tried both the hot 1 and the hot 2 out and gotten the same results. So that's how it's hooked up. When I turn it on with no load, and I'm using a admittedly cheap meter here, but it bounces around. I don't know if I can show that or not. Let me see if I can set this up somehow to show the meter at least. Let's see. So if we set that up there, if I turn the inverter on, for starters, it makes a pulsing sound. Not sure if you can hear that or not. Move this a little closer for a second, in case you can hear that. It's like dit 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 dit. So I'm not sure if that's normal or not. I don't remember what it used to do, to be perfectly honest. So let's see if I can put this here. So with no load on the system, I'm going to probe the hot 2 to the neutral, or actually it's hot 1 to neutral. So that's what it's giving me. Cool. So made a mistake. It's going to be on video. Let's change over to AC power. Whoops. I've never done that before, but of course on video I will. Let's try this again. Okay, that's more what I was seeing before. It's bouncing, and that pulsing sound from the inverter is also pretty suspect. So hopefully you can see the voltage just bouncing around but not actually getting anywhere. I can also probe the hot 2 out, which I'll do now. Same thing. It's bouncing around. And just for the hell of it, if I go hot 1 to ground instead of neutral, same thing. It's bouncing around. Now, can I check the difference between ground and neutral out? Yeah, so ground and neutral out, 0 volts. Now, what's interesting is when I turn a 100 watt light bulb on, which is plugged into this makeshift outlet. The light bulb takes a second, but it turns on dimly. It's definitely not a normal 100 watt brightness. Here we go. So the bulb is on. I don't know if you can see. It's dim. It's on, but it's dim. The tone of the inverter has changed. It's a constant buzzing now. Instead of dit, 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 it's dit. Let's move this again in case you can hear it. Okay. And let me show you what the voltage is doing now. So when I probe hot 1 out to neutral out, we've got 50.3 volts. When I probe hot 2 out to neutral out, we've got 50.3 volts. When I probe, well, let's do it this way. Hot 1 out to ground. .3. Hot 2 out to ground. 50.3. And neutral to ground, under load, 0.02 volts. If there's any other information you can see that you would like, please let me know. I am not an electrical expert. I am learning as I go. But hopefully that helps show what I'm doing here. Here's the plug. There's the light. It looks bright. It's not bright. It's not 100 watts. When I plug into shore power, it's bright. When I plug into shore power, things work normally. But right now, they're not working normally. So just before I send this thing in for service and spend quite a bit of money and quite a bit of time without an inverter, just want to see if I can narrow down that the issue is 100% definitely, without a doubt, the inverter. Let me do one other thing here. Speaking of narrowing down, let's change this to DC voltage. I have the light bulb. Well, let's start with the light bulb off. Light bulb's off, so no load on the system. I'm going to probe the DC in and DC out. And here we go. DC in and DC out on my lithium setup. It's currently 13.12, no load. And there are no fuses on this system. I'm going right to the inverter studs. Well, that's not true. Oh, actually it is true. There are no fuses on this system currently. All right, gonna turn the light bulb on. All right, the tone of the inverter changes again. We're gonna do the same thing. Right on the inverter probes, and we've got 13.10 volts. So I'm getting erratic behavior on the AC out. I'm getting stable behavior on the DC in. So that's the information I have. If there's anything I'm missing, if I need to load test the batteries themselves or anything else like that to rule out the batteries, or if I need to hook this up to a lead acid battery, a different battery, I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's make sure 100% that the issue is the inverter before I send it out, and you know, put that time and money into it. I'm actually supposed to drive from Florida to Colorado in 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, and start my full-time living in the RV. And of course, now all of a sudden the inverter's not working. So if I have to fix it, then I want to fix it. If there's something else, then I certainly don't want to put the time and money into that without, you know, without having a good reason for it. So that's it. Now we've successfully made an 8-minute video, but I hope that shows you what I'm working with. And if there are any questions or anything else I need to check, let me know. I will do it. Let's get this figured out. Thanks a lot.